those videos from the first 2 weeks. We have them on live. We also have them stored up under my videos. You can also go in the current page that are promoting this week's lesson, and you will be able to see those 2 videos that we have. And if anybody desires to view them and haven't seen them, you can also go to my YouTube page as well. Now that we've given that review, I know I told you last week that we were going to we ended on Deuteronomy 28, and we will be beginning today on Deuteronomy 28. But last night, as I was studying, the Most High led me to go into a different direction. There are some different things as a people that we need to address in order for you to fully receive the fact that you are Israel. Number one, there are current people that are claiming to be God's people, and we know them as the Jewish people. Now, number one, I'm not here to attack anybody, because we all have been lied to. Everybody in this world. There's only a certain amount of people that's in the hierarchy places that actually know the truth. So I'm not going to go into attacking the Jewish people. I'm not going to do that. I just need to get you to understand that we must not get caught up in the lies that have been told. Number one, when you look at throughout this Bible, you never see the word Jewish. Okay, there's no such thing as Jewish. We have to understand that in times of biblical times, there was no such thing as the religion of Judaism. Okay, there was no such thing, because the only ones that were following the laws and statutes and commandments, which we're going to go into in a little while, was the nation of Israel. It wasn't a religion. Okay, today we have religion, but there was no such thing as a religion in biblical times. Judaism wasn't a religion. It was the way of life of Israel. The way the word Judaism ever became to be into existence is because after the fall of Israel, what we're going to talk about later on today, there began to come Gentiles into the land. In order to come into that land, the people that was remaining in Judea told them that in order to dwell in this land, you must practice our customs, keep our sacrifices to be in this land. Now, as a result of those people that were coming in, the Gentiles that was coming in, this is where you begin to hear the word of Judaism. But we have to understand that when the 12 tribes were all together, their nation was named Israel. When the nation split, it became Israel and Judea. So when the Gentiles begin to come in, what this whole idea of Judaism is because they were studying the customs and following the rules and the regulations of Judea. Okay? Now, when you fast forward to the 10th, 11th, and 12th, 13th century, there began to become a people that began to take on this religion of Judaism for political reasons. We don't have time to dive into those things. But what I want to show you in the Bible is that Christ warned us that there were going to be a people who would be claiming to be us that were not. We're going to look at Revelations. Go to your Bibles, Revelations, the 2nd chapter. And we're going to look at verse 9 here. Revelations, the 2nd chapter. And we're going to look at verse 9 here. Read verse 9 for.
Verse 9 says, I know thy works and thy tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
Okay, now stop. Christ is telling us here, if you just joined us, we're in Revelation 2nd chapter, verse 9. Christ is telling us here, he says that I know your works and your tribulation. I know what you've been doing for me. I know what you've been going through as a result of doing this for me. And as well as I know your poverty as a result of it. But I want to encourage you that because you may not have money in your pocket right now, you may not have a large bank account, if you're in Christ, you're rich. So I just want to encourage any of you out here today that are in situations where it don't look like it's the best, recognize that if you're doing what thus says the Lord and you're serving the Lord in the best of your ability, Christ considered that you're rich. All right? Let's go. Keep going.
And I know the blasphemy of them which that say they are Jews, and they are not, but they are the synagogues of Satan.
Wow. Now, Christ is telling us right here that he knows the blasphemy of those who are saying they're Jews. And notice that here that he didn't say that they are followers of me. Or I know that they'll say that they are Christians. Or I know they'll say they are of the church. He said specifically, I know the blasphemy of them who say they are Jews, and they are not. All right? Now, he said this again. Let's go to Revelations 3. Revelations 3. And we're going to look at verse 9 there in Revelation 9 chapter, verse 9.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Wow. Now, some of you who last week got the revelation that you were Israel, some of you may have already have heard this before, and now it has been confirmed. But I want you to try to remember that at any point in history for the last 20 years, was there ever anybody as a whole, now you had a few guys here and there, if you study history here and there, that began to say that we were the chosen people. But as a whole, who else besides the current people that we consider to be Jewish was saying that they were Jews? So who in the world was he talking about in Revelations 2 and 9 and Revelation 3 and 9? When he says again, read that again for him.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie.
But do lie. Okay? So this is not about the church. This is not about fake Christians. Christ is saying there's some people who are of the synagogue of Satan who are saying that they are Jews, but they are not. All right? Now, we don't have a lot of time to put on this, so I'm just going to give this to you, and we're going to move forward. Now, we talked about last week in Deuteronomy 28th chapter, in verses 65 through 68, that tells us that it was prophesied that if we did not follow the law, statutes, and commandments, that we would go into slavery and we would go into cargo ships. Now, we know there is no other culture, no other nation in this world that went into slavery in cargo ship, taken from one land to another in the masses that we were. So we know that Deuteronomy 28 was talking about us. We have received that, right? Now, my question to you is, as my brother put this link in here, because we don't want you to go on our opinion, right? If Deuteronomy 28 verse 68 tells us that we would have to go into cargo ships one day and go into slavery, why is it that we can see no record of any white people doing this? Now, if you can find this for me, if you think I'm just making this up and race baiting, I want you to go back and I want you to send it to me personally. Any time in history where boats pulled up on the coast of Europe and took 1 million people into another land as slaves. And you have to prove that they were Jews. Because that prophecy was only given to Jews. To Israelites, excuse me. So if you can't prove that, you have to receive what thus says the Lord here. But what if I can show you that the actual slave ships that brought us over here were owned by the Jewish people? What if I can prove to you that the banks who financed the slave ships were owned by the Jewish people? What if I can prove to you that the plantations in America and in South America were financed by the Jewish people? This link that I just put into your box, you'll be able to go and find that Look it up. Read this article in detail. It's a very long article. It goes on and on. It gives all the names, all the people that was involved. How can they be the Jewish people if they were the ones who were financing the slavery in which Israel was told that they were going to have to go into? How can they be the people? What you're going to also see in that letter is that the beginning, the person who started the Ku Klux Klan, William Bedford Forrest, and 6 other men, when they originally started the Ku Klux Klan, it was not about us. It was about due to the fact that the Jewish people had basically owned the South. All of the land was owned by the Jewish banks. The plantations were in debt to Jewish banks. The slave markets were owned by Jewish people. And that's why the poor white people were going off and fighting in the Civil War to protect the heritage. When they got back, they realized that the whole area had been hijacked and taken. So initially, the Ku Klux Klan was supposed to be an organization was to fight back and recapture the South for the Caucasian people. But what happened was, as time went on, hate began to come as the main objective of the Ku Klux Klan, and some of the original leaders went away from it because they said this has nothing to do with our original intent. What happened as a result of is that the Jewish people had the slaves, but then when they got free, they took them into land, gave them to the land of the white people, and started the sharecropping. That was not done mostly by white folks, people. That was done by Jewish people. You will see that when you do the research. They were giving their land to the black people on credit. So when they came back, they was like, yo, man, these people done took our land, they done took our homes, they done took our farms, they took everything, and now we got to get this back. But then some other people began to infiltrate, and they were mad, and they began to now attack us. Win-win for the people who was getting money off us as slaves and us as free. So just take a look at that in your own time. We don't got a lot of time to move on that. We got to move forward.